Every year on October 15th, my family gathers in complete silence to honor something we're forbidden to discuss, until I discovered what we were really celebrating. The first time I noticed something was wrong, I was 7 years old, standing in my grandmother's kitchen while she arranged white chrysanthemums in a crystal vase. Her hands were shaking. Not the gentle tremor of old age, but something deeper, like fear. When I asked her why we always had flowers but never talked about who they were for, she pressed her lips together so tightly they disappeared and simply said, "Some things are better left buried, sweetheart." But before I tell you what I found, comment what time you're watching this video. I grew up in a house where October 15th was treated like a sacred holiday, more important than Christmas or birthdays. Every year, without fail, the entire extended family would converge on my grandmother's Victorian home in Salem, Oregon. Aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone would arrive by sunset, carrying white flowers and wearing their most formal clothes. We'd sit in the living room, surrounded by dozens of flickering candles, and simply exist in silence for exactly 3 hours. No phones, no whispering, no questions. Just the sound of our breathing and the occasional creak of the old house settling around us. As a child, I thought this was normal. I assumed every family had their quiet nights, their moments of collective meditation. My parents never explained it and I never asked. There was something in the air on those nights that discouraged curiosity, a heaviness that made even my normally chatty cousins sit perfectly still, their eyes fixed on the portrait above the fireplace. The portrait was of a woman I'd never met. Beautiful, with dark hair and kind eyes, wearing a dress that looked like it belonged to another era. Grandmother had dozens of family photos scattered throughout the house, but this one was different. It hung alone, surrounded by fresh white flowers that were replaced every few days. The woman in the painting seemed to watch us during our silent vigils, and I swear sometimes I caught her eyes moving in the candlelight. When I turned 16, I finally worked up the courage to ask my mother about the tradition. We were driving home after that year's gathering, and the silence in the car felt different, heavier, more fragile. "Mom," I said, trying to keep my voice casual, "who is the woman in grandmother's portrait?" Her hands tightened on the steering wheel. "That's not something we discuss, Emma." "But why? I've been coming to these things my whole life. Don't I deserve to know what we're doing?" She pulled over so abruptly I thought we'd hit something. When she turned to look at me, her eyes were filled with tears I'd never seen before. "Some traditions exist to protect us," she whispered. "Some silences are acts of love. Please don't ask me again." But I was 16, and telling a teenager not to ask questions is like telling water not to flow downhill. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the way my mother's voice had cracked, about the portrait's eyes, about the decades of unexplained silence. I decided I would find out the truth no matter what it cost. My investigation began innocently enough. I started asking seemingly casual questions to different family members, hoping someone might let something slip. My uncle David mentioned that the tradition had been going on since before the accident.